हरिः ओम् श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Namaste friends. Welcome to the fourth revision session of Atma Bodha. Atma Bodha is a Prakarana Grantha, an introductory text written by Adi Shankaracharya for the benefit of the students who are beginning their foray into Vedantic study. Each verse in the Atma Bodha is illustrated by a beautiful pictorial example which explains the difficult concept of Vedanta in a very easy way. In today's class, we are going to study how the realized self merges with the all-pervading Brahman. So this is the pinnacle of Vedanta, where the Jivatma merges with the Paramatma. And that is how we learn the Mahavakya, Aham Brahma Asmi. Today's speakers are Dr. Anupama Shetty, Dr. Rupa Sure, and Srimati Mamta Shankar. The session will be moderated by Dr. Anupama ma'am, and we will also have a very engaging quiz towards the end. I now request our revered teacher, Dr. Timappa Hegde sir, to please introduce the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Panaga. Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. We have reached that part of Atma Bodha which talks of Atma Jnana Mahima. What is the greatness of getting Atma Bodha or self-knowledge? Which means we are trying to answer this question, why every week we are, or day in and day out, this group of ours is consistently working on studying Vedanta. What is our end point? What is the goal? There are many mantras from the Upanishads, but there is one Upanishadic mantra which I would strongly recommend that we learn it as a mantra, that it becomes something that you will remember. That means we have to memorize this. I may not know the meaning, but just how Vedic mantras are taught, learn how to chant that mantra. That means memorize that mantra. And then in the course of our classes, we know the meaning of each word of this mantra. And this great mantra from the Mundaka Upanishad goes like this. Vidyate hridaya grantihi chiddante sarva samshaya kshiyante cha asya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Which means when I get Brahma Vidya, when I know Brahman is not some object, but I know Brahman clearly as my true nature. I know Brahman as myself. Then what is the benefit of this direct knowledge? It is not an experience, it is a knowledge. It is a doubt-free conviction that I am that. If this Mahavakya is internalized into life, what is the casualty, or what is broken is the Hridaya Granthi. The knot in the heart is destroyed. Hridaya Granthi is gone. And what is this Hridaya Granthi? All of us are born with a certain knot in the heart. And the knot in the heart, or the basic root problem, is called avidya. Avidya means even though I am that, I am already that. Even though I am that, I am, one moment. Even though I am already that, I am not aware of my true nature. And because I am not aware of my true nature, and that is because of Maya Shakti, there is avidya. Avidya prevents me from knowing my true nature. A cloud of ignorance covers my true nature, and there is a identification. From avidya comes adhyasa. Adhyasa is an error where I identify with the upadhi. The upadhi that all of us have to interact with this world is my body-mind complex, or the panchakoshas. And when I experience this panchakosha, I identify with the limitations of my body, limitations of my mind. And when I see limitations, then a desire arises in my heart. If at all I can aspire to achieve that, that is what is called karma. And once karma comes, we cannot keep quiet. I have to get into action. And once I get into action, then there is a certain, just excuse me one moment, please. Okay. Once I get into action, then I have to get into karma, and karma produces, karma produces karma. Karma means every action that I do will have either a punya or a papa. There is a benefit. And because of the punya or papa karma, a person has to go through subsequent life. And this is what is called the Hridaya Granthi. But the moment a person gets Brahma Vidya and Aparokshataya, that means very, very clearly, then what happens? There is a clear distinction or disidentification from the limited upadhi, and that itself produces a destruction of the knot in the heart. The Hridaya Granthi is broken. Second is, imagine that state when all doubts are eliminated. There is no doubt about who is this jiva, who am I, what is this not I, this whole world of anatma or jagat, what is this God? Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, doubts are gone. Why is there so much suffering in the world? Why are we doing all these sadhanas? Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, Bandha, Moksha, Sadhana. All these are these fundamental intellectual doubts. Imagine that state when all those doubts are gone. And then, so all the karmas are all destroyed. There is no sanchita, there is no agami. Prarabdha is there, but now I have awakened to my higher self, and therefore whatever affects the body cannot really affect me. And finally, there is this word, tasmin drishte paravare. Tasmin, thereafter, that Brahma with the jnani is now beyond cause and effect. Paravare means the param means superior, or paravare, beyond the beyond cause and beyond effect. Now, cause and effect are like, because of my actions, I have karma. So now that cause effect is gone. Tasmin drishte paravare. Such a person goes beyond cause and effect. So, to summarize, drishti, when Brahman is seen means aparokshataya. When it is understood, sakshat ahamasmi, I am that. Then what happens? The Hridaya Granthi is gone. All the samsara is gone. Avidya, kama, karma is destroyed. And all the samshaya is also gone. So I will chant it once again. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. Chidyante sarva samshaya. Kshiyante cha asya karmani. Tasmin drishte paravare. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The moderator for today's session will be Dr. Anupama. Dr. Anupama, please.
Thank you, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So today we will be doing a quick revision of the section of Atma Bodha, verses 41 to 54. In these verses, Adi Shankaracharya describes the benefit and glory of Atma Bodha. He says, Jnana Yoga generates knowledge in the mind of a seeker over a period of time. He then describes Jnana Phalam and Jnana Stuti. He says Jnana Phalam, or benefit of knowledge, is Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti is not being affected by Prarabdha, and Videha Mukti is freedom from Punarjanma. While describing Jnana Stuti, he had said, there is no other achievement in life as great as Atma Bodha. Yellabhat na aparalabha, yet jnanat na aparajneyam. So, what is this Jnana Phalam? We have heard it variously being called Atmani Nishta, Brahmani Nishta, Sthita Prajna, Parabhakti, or even Jivan Mukti. What does this Jivan Mukta do? Rupa Varnadikam Sarvam Vihaya Paramarthavit. He gives up Mityatva Buddhi, especially Dehabhimana, and dwells on Aham Brahma Asmi. Jnana Avi Smritihi Eva Nishtaha. In the words of Krishna, Esha Brahmi Stitaha Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati. He overcomes moha or delusion forever. In this Atma Bodha text, Atma Bodha has been compared to fire, Udita Avagata Jwala, which is Samshaya Viparita Bhavana Rahita Jnanam, born out of consistent churning of Mahavakyas in our minds. This is called Nidityasanam. This Jnana Agni destroys Ajnana Janita Karmas. Sarva Ajnanendhanam Dahati. Pasham Dahati means it destroys all bondage. Adi Shankaracharya uses the metaphor of Arani Manthanam, which we had heard very in detail last class. To summarize, Arani Mathanam refers to Jnana Yoga. The Bhuta Agni is here compared to Jnana Agni. The two Aranis, the Uttara Arani is compared to the Mahavakyas, and the Adho Arani to the Sthira Prajna, the steady mind of a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna student. The two Aranis, therefore, are the sadhana chatushtaya sampanna and Mahavakya. So, what is the result? Aham Brahma Asmi Dhrida Jnana. What does the flame do? In the ritual, it burns all oblations. But in Vedanta sadhana, we offer into Jnana Agni all our Ajnana, and with it goes Adhyasa, which includes Kartrutvam, Bhoktritvam, Prarabdham, Samsara. So we now know that Atma Bodha destroys Ajnanam. And we may then wonder, does Atma Jnanam illumine Brahman? No. Brahman is Swayam Prakasha Rupaha. To know any object, two aspects of the mind are needed. First, we need information about that object to be processed, literally pervaded as thoughts in the mind. This is called Vritti Vyapti. And by this, we get to know the functions, properties, etc. of the object. This is also called Avarana Nivritti. Ignorance about that object goes. Now, these thoughts of that object have to be registered in our mind, and this happens only when the mind is illumined by the light of consciousness. This is called Phala-vyapti. We have to be awake. We have to be aware of these thoughts. Let's take this metaphor. Consider an object covered by a lid and placed in a dark room. To see this object, we need to do two actions. First, remove the lid. This is equivalent to Avarana Nivritti, also called Vritti Vyapti. That means the object has to be exposed. Then we need to switch on the light in order to make it visible. This is compared to Phala Vyapti. But if this object is a self-evident lamp, we need no light to see it. Phala Vyapti is unnecessary. Therefore, for Atma Jnanam, we need only to destroy ignorance, that is Avarana Vritti or Vritti Vyapti. The comparison given here is Mega Apaya Amshuman Iva. Once the cloud is gone, the sun simply shines by itself. Similarly, there is no question of attaining Atma. Atma tu satatam praptaha. It is a siddha vastu and doesn't need to be attained. Then why do we say Brahmavit apnoti param? Apnoti means attain. Adi Shankaracharya says, Jivatva buddhi is as foolish as sthano purushavat brantya. The delusion that a benign tree stump is a scary person. Brahma Prapti means a Brahmatva Nivritti. That means Jivatva Buddhi Nivritti. A Brahma Nivritti is overcoming the fear of limitations, the Apurnatvam of Jivatma or Jivatma Nivritti, realizing that we are Paramatma and not Jivatma. The significance of this Jivatva Nivritti is Jivatva Nasha. Ahankara Mamakara Nivritti is port Nivritti, the delusional belief that Aham, I belong to them, and Mama, claiming of belonging to me, mine. The my mine delusion is like a landmine and it only explodes in time. Remember, every port is only a temporary association in infinite time. Therefore, I should have the Dhrida Jnana that I am Asangaha. Once we realize Aham Brahma Asmi, aparokshataya, having Tattva Swarupa Anubhavat Utpannam Jnanam, how long does it take to rid ourselves of Ajnanam? Instantaneously, both Ajnanam and all Adhyasas are gone. For example, just suppose a situation where we are lost in a lonely, dark desert and need to travel northwards to reach our destination. And we are clueless about our bearings. If dawn breaks and we happen to see the sun rising, confusion regarding east is gone. Similarly, the doubts regarding north, west, south similarly go. With Atma Bodha, Sakshat Prayojanam is Ajnana Nivritti and the Parampara Prayojanam is Ahankara Mamakara Nivritti. Bhadate Dig Brahmad Divat. In short, with destruction of Ajnana, all Adhyasas spontaneously drop like the domino effect. The Jnani now crosses over the Moha, the great delusion that port is our only source of Shanti, Tirtva Moha Arnavam. Who is the pin among Moha Rakshasa? Ajnana. Having crossed the ocean of delusion, having killed the demons Raga, Dvesha, etc., the Jnani now revels in himself, result being Akhilam Jagat Swa Atmani Eva Ikshate. The world to him now is Namarupa Matram, Vacharambanam. As Krishna said, Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam, Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani. For this Jnani, the whole world is nothing but Atma himself. Neha Nana Asti Kinchanaha. Such a Vidwan is called a Jivan Muktaha. Although embodied, he is free from bonds of Mithya Anatma. Satchit Ananda Rupavat Bhavet. How? Like a light confined to a pot. Swa Antaha Eva. He shines within alone. Also, Atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate. He who takes delight in himself alone, he who is gratified and contented in himself, has no duty. But what about his prarabdha? What about his sharira anubhava, like hunger, thirst, pain? A jnani has upadhi sambandha, but he knows it is mithya. He may suffer jvara, biological pain, but not anujvara, the psychological pain. Atma, like space, accommodates every action without being affected. Both theft and bhakti may happen in the same room, but is the space affected? Tat dharmaihi aliptaha vyomavat munihi. How does this jnani conduct himself in the world? Sthita prajnasya kabhasa moodavat tishtate asaktaha vayuvat charate. He appears no different from Mudas or Ajnanis. Yatra yatra vidya, tatra tatra vinaya. The difference is only in his attitude. He remains unaffected. So, what happens to this Jnani after death? He attains Videha Mukti. For an Ajnani, after death, his Janana Marana cycle continues in accordance with his Sanchita and Agami karmas. But in the case of a Jnani, Jnanam has destroyed Sanchita karma. No Agami is generated and Prarabdha is exhausted. Therefore, he has no rebirth. Jnani merges with totality, and this merger is outside the realm of space and time, like pot space merging into total space. This Jivan Muktaha or Jnani is with Sharira Trayam enclosure. After death, Videha Mukti, he merges with the Samashti Prapancha. Upadhi Vilayat, Sukshma, Stula, Karana, Sharira Vilayat, Munihi, Vishnu Vishet. He merges how? Nirvishesham, indistinguishably and totally. Brahma eva na brahmavit bhavati. And what is the benefit? There is no accomplishment in life on par with accomplishment of Brahman. Why? Yet sukhat na aparam sukham. This is Brahmananda. It is the greatest, it is the absolute Ananda, like the bliss of a child drinking milk compared to Vishayananda, which is as empty as thumb sucking. Thank you. I request Dr. Rupa to take over from here. Thank you.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you, Dr. Anupama. It was an excellent talk. In the next few minutes, we are going to listen to the summary of verses 47 to 50. So before we start the verse proper, we are going to again listen to a brief introduction of the Jnana Phalam, or the benefits of knowledge. Both Dr. Hegde sir and Madam Anupama have summarized it, but we listen to it once again so that it remains with us for a longer duration. Here, knowledge of the self is acquired by Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. What are the 4 benefits of acquiring the self-knowledge? Firstly, the Ajnana Nivritti, which is removal of ignorance of self-knowledge. Secondly, the Jivatya Adhyasa, that is the false perception about life. Thirdly, the Nirmohaha and Nirahankaraha, which we just listened, that is removal of attachment and removal of the attachment of the ego. And fourthly, there should be a total change in the perception of the world with this vision that we have obtained. Now, moving on to the next slide, verses 47 to 50, they are literally summary slides, which summary verses, which mean something. Each verse is giving us a take-home message by themselves. Verse 47 summarizes the Jnani's vision of how he's seeing at the world. 48 goes hand in hand with 47, where we're going to see oneness everywhere. Verse 49 is about what is Jivan Muktaha, and verse 50 is seeing your own true self, or reveling in one's own true self. Moving to the next slide. Here in this slide, we see that how the world and I appear before knowledge was acquired. That is, the world was seen as a supporter, and I, that's the capital I referring to the Atma, was the supported. On the right of the slide, after the knowledge of consciousness is acquired, then the world is seen as supported and I is seen as a supporter. That is the Sarva Adhara. Moving on to the next slide. I'll skip the verse. Sir, can we move on to the next slide, please? In verse 47, we see that what are we mainly aiming to understand is that one who has got a clear, doubtless, well assimilated knowledge has got the wisdom eye. And hence, he is able to see the whole world resting in himself, and he is present in everyone. To understand this better, let us take the example of the wave, ocean, and water, where wave is the created and the water is the creator. Next slide, please. Here, as long as I am the wave, I will say I am in the ocean, existing in it and resolving into it. But once I know I am the water, the very content, I can say the very ocean is existing in me. So this is the change of vision that is needed. Next slide. This is verse 48. Next slide, sir. In verse 48, what is it that we are saying? Here we are saying that seeing oneness everywhere is the necessity of the hour. Here the whole world is nothing but Atma. If it remains such, is it going to be of any use to us? No. So it needs a Nama and Rupa. Even though the Nama Rupa are Anatma, then this one Advayam Brahma appears as Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. Only then all transactions are possible. This perspective change is needed. Only then we can believe in the words, all is in me and all is me. Next slide, please. Here, to better understand this, we have the example of the clay and the pot, which we repeatedly see many times in our classes. No earthenware like pots are separate from clay. So on the left, you're seeing the clay, and on the right, you're seeing the different pots made out of the same clay. Next slide, sir. It's verse 49. Next slide. In this verse again, what is the gist of this verse? Jivan Muktaha. A person who has self-knowledge, that is, the Atma is Sarva Adara, is of the higher order of reality and not affected by Jagan Mithya. He is the one who attains freedom during this life itself. It is instantaneous. On the other hand, the body has to go through various conditions because of the prarabdha karma, which we saw at the last speaker's talk. In the next slide, we see the primary benefit of self-knowledge is to understand that I am Atma, not affected by the mind. And the secondary benefit is refinement of the mind. Most of us seek the secondary benefit, which is refinement of the mind. And maybe most of us attend the Vedanta classes so that we seek peace of mind. But I think what is more important is the primary benefit. So to better understand this, we will go to the worm and the wasp example. But before we go to the next example, let us think what we need to do to get the primary benefit, which is more important than the secondary benefit. So we all have attained Shravanam, Mananam, and we are going through the process of Nididhyasana. Some of us might have completed it. But after attaining the self-knowledge, one should practice Nididhyasana. And dropping of the habitual reaction needs long Nididhyasana. Non-production of unhealthy thoughts, disidentification from the mind, forget the body in health and sickness. And when mind is at peace, then disidentify from the mind. Then your nature of Satchidananda Rupa is revealed. Then claiming the Atma will be the result. Now, when we'll try to be with the present slide, which is the worm and the wasp example. So previous slide, please. Here, when we are comparing the worm to the Jivatma, who is helpless, and compare the wasp to the Paramatma, where it is free and has the freedom to fly. Here the explanation goes this way. The wasp brings a worm and puts it in its hive and stings on it on a daily basis. The worm is in fear and can't escape because there's only one opening to that particular hive. It is constantly seeing and thinking of the wasp, and then one day it becomes the wasp. So, this is an example to say, as you think, so you become. Similarly, constantly claiming Aham Brahmasmi all the time, the Jivatma claims his Paramatma status. Next slide, sir. So, this is the last of my summary slides. Here in this verse, the gist is one who revels in his own true self. This is a beautiful verse. Here, this whole verse is compared to the story of Ramayana. Here, each one of us is compared to Rama, and we have lost Sita, who is compared to Shanti, that is peace. Sita originally belonged to Rama, as all of us know. Similarly, Vedanta says Shanti is our own non separable entity. Somehow we have lost it. We have to get it back. So, what do we do to get it back? We have to cross the vast ocean of delusions, which is Moha Arnava. Example, the money, power, relationships, positions, raga, dvesha, etc. Crossing over this bridge by doing what? By doing karma yoga, upasana yoga, and killing ignorance and its consequences, like body mind identification, like how Lord Rama killed all the Rakshasas. The biggest Rakshasa for us in our lives is the ignorance of self knowledge. And finally, we reach Sita or Shanti. In case of the Ramayana story, Anjaneya is the person who helps with this entire process. Whereas in our lives, we have our Guru who helps us to reach the Shanti. Vedanta says this Shanti is within us and not outside us. And by removing ignorance, we can get the Shanti. Next slide, sir. So when we see this picture, it is very clear how we can attain Shanti after destroying all the Rakshasas and other gunas that are there. And once we release ourselves from these things, our own very true nature is revealed. And that is Aham Brahmasmi. That is the jnanam which helps us to revel in our own true nature. This is also called Atma, that is the one who revels in himself. As Swami Paramatmanandaji mentions, Jnani's UPS or uninterrupted power supply is the Atma. He says when there is happiness outside, enjoy it, be a part of it. But when there is no happiness outside, don't feel sad, don't feel lonely. Because as I said, our uninterrupted power supply of happiness is within us, that is the Atma. Next slide, please. This is the last slide. I think with this, I conclude. Again, we have to remember the statement, Aham Brahmasmi, all the time. Whenever we have time, meditate on this. I think that's the only way we can claim the status. Thank you.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Verses 51 to 53 of Atma Bodha talks about Jivan Mukta Jnani and Videha Mukti of a Jnani. In the next slide, every Jnani or wise person revels in Atma or consciousness. We have heard about that from several speakers in the last session and also in the present session. They no longer depend on experiences of Anatma, that is, body, mind, sense, world, for fulfillment. Experiences with Anatma result in pain and pleasure, and they are temporary in nature as they have a specific beginning and end. And Gnani do not indulge in the outcome of experiences with Anatma. In the next slide, Gnani is one who is liberated while living or known as Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukti is a sense of fulfillment born out of the knowledge of higher self, that I am not the individual mortal being or Jiva. I am the ultimate truth, not limited by time and space. This knowledge and assimilation itself gives a sense of fulfillment or purnatvam that thereafter the ups and downs the Gnani goes through with respect to individual I as body mind will be dealt with equanimity. In the next slide, further trying to understand about Jivan Mukti, let us consider a 5-match series of any team sport. A team has straightaway won the a team has straightaway won the first 3 games. So technically they have won the series. The winning team plays remaining 2 matches with an inner fulfillment that they have already won. If they win remaining matches, there is joy. If there is defeat in any of the subsequent match, there will be some sadness, but the impact of sadness is overpowered by the overall sense of fulfillment. Similarly, for a spiritual seeker, where primary goal is discovery of the self, the ultimate truth, when a Gnani discovers this truth, the fulfillment from the discovery gives such a purnatvam, the impact of pain and pleasure or ups and downs with experiences in the world and Gnani's body, mind, senses, in other words, Anatma, is overpowered by the inner condition of purnatva. They go through the experiences of the Anatma, but is always aware that all the experiences belong to respective Anatma. I am the Atma or consciousness, unaffected by them, and with a sense of inner fulfillment, revels in Atma. That fulfillment, in spite of relative ups and downs of the individual I as body mind, is called Jivan Mukti. In the next slide, example referred to as an analogy to explain Jivan Mukta Gnani is the Ghatastha Deepavat. Just as Deepa or lamp within a pot shines within by itself and lamp's light is confined to a pot, similarly Gnani's mind abides or ever established in the self, reveals in Atma, not seeking any support from the external objects or Anatma. Being fully aware that I, the Chit or consciousness or Atma, is the Adhisthana or support of the whole universe with name and form, and remains unaffected by all the experiences that appear in me, the consciousness. In the next slide, Prarabdha karma for any individual beings come with favorable and unfavorable conditions in the surroundings or in their own body. In case of Gnani, who has assimilated the knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, learns to realize that all the experiences belong to the concerned objects, like pain experience belongs to the body, happiness and sadness experience belongs to mind, and so on. And it's not me. I am the Atma or consciousness, a pure bliss, which is the source of security, peace, happiness, and reveals in Atma or self all the time. In the next slide, 3 examples used by Shankaracharya to elaborate on Gnani's behavior are space, Mudavat, and wind. Just like space is unaffected by heavy rain, thunderstorms, etc., Gnani is unaffected by pain, pleasure associated with external objects or Anatma. Gnani conducts like ordinary self-ignorant person, which is compared to Mudavat in here in this verse. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna, Sthita Pragnasya ka bhasha. How do you describe a Gnani? So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and Shankaracharya in here, that is Atma Bodha, say there is no external difference. It is only internal condition. Awareness of who am I or awareness of my essential nature, that is, I am the Atma or pure consciousness. Such a Gnani accommodates everyone, but never affected by any situation, remains detached and moves from place to place just like wind. In the next slide, now after describing Jivan Mukta Gnani, Shankaracharya talks about Videha Mukti for a Gnani. Individual beings are comprised of Atma, the consciousness, and the 3 bodies, that is Karana Sharira, Sukshma and Sthula Sharira. In case of Gnani, after liberation, the accumulated or Sanchita karma is destroyed. There is no new or Agami karma due to absence of doership. Prarabdha karma is exhausted through experiences in the present life, and with no accumulated and no new karma by Gnani, which is the cause for Sukshma and Karana Sharira, and Prarabdha karma exhausted, which is the cause for Sthula Sharira, at the end of Gnani's life or at time of death, Gnani is free from all the shackles of karma and from all the three bodies. And consciousness or Atma, the Gnani, is one with Brahman or Paramatma. Just like when pot is broken, pot space is one with total space. When Gnani had all the three bodies, there was self-realized Gnani and there was Brahman, all-pervading and eternal. When the three bodies or Shariratrayam is gone, the Gnani or consciousness or Atma is one with Brahman or Paramatma. This is called Videha Mukti, where oneness with Brahman or Paramatma frees up the Gnani from Punarjanma. In the next slide, Videha Mukti of a Gnani is analyzed with the help of three analogies: Jale Jalam, Vyad Vyomani, and Tejas Tejasi. Just as water of rivers merge with ocean, then onwards you cannot really differentiate the water, and specific portioned space, like the pot space, becomes one with the total space. You can't really differentiate the two different spaces. And finally, the light merging or become one with another light. For example, say there are two candle lights with space between candles. You can't really say or differentiate which candle is lighting up the space between the two candles. Similarly, in case of Gnani, once Gnani gives up all the three bodies, the Jivatma or the consciousness or Atma and Paramatma are inseparable. You cannot really differentiate them. In the last slide, in conclusion, summarizing what we have discussed so far, every Gnani or wise person reveals in Atma or consciousness. They no longer depend on experiences of Anatma. Two benefits of self-knowledge that we discussed in these verses 51 to 53, Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti means liberated by living. It is a sense of fulfillment born out of the knowledge of higher self that I am not the individual mortal living being. Gnani is a Jivan Mukta. After going through Jivan Mukti for a length of time, Gnani's body falls at the appropriate time. After death, what happens to the Gnani is termed as Videha Mukti. Videha Mukti means freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Videha Mukti comes to a Gnani because at time of death, the Prarabdha karma is exhausted, karma balance is zero for a Gnani, and Jivatma or I, the Atma, and Paramatma cannot be differentiated or they are inseparable. Thank you, sir. Hari Om.
Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. We'll now have a short quiz on the subject matter that we have discussed till now. I request Dr. Hegde to answer the questions. So we just discussed this topic of Jnatra Jnana Jneya Bheda, the difference between the knower, known, and the instrument of knowledge. If you ask a Jnani, do you know Brahman? What will his reply be? Please select the most appropriate answer. He may say, I know Brahman. Or will he say, I don't know Brahman? Will he say, I am Brahman? Or I am doing Shravana Manat Nidhisyasana to know Brahman? Or will he say, I, the Pramatra, the knower, use Pramana, knowledge, to know the Prameya Brahman?
I am Brahman.
That's right, sir. Next, this question is regarding the Arani Mathanam example that we have discussed in detail over the past two classes. Please fill in the blanks with the most suitable answer. Arani Mathanam refers to Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or Jnana Yoga.
Jnana Yoga.
That's right. Bhuta Agni of the Arani Mathanam corresponds to the fire of Mangalarati, the sacred fire of Yajna, fire of Jnana, or celestial fires.
Sacred fire of Yajna.
No, in the metaphor, see, literally it is the sacred fire of Yajna.
Fire of Jnana.
That's right. Metaphorically, it is the fire of Jnana. The two Aranis, here we are talking about what they correspond to in Vedanta. The two Aranis are Jnana and Ajnana, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna and Mahavakyas, or Ahankara and Mamakara. The Uttara and Adho Arani correspond to which of the two?
The lower Arani is the mind of the students who is prepared, sadhana chatusthya sampanna, and the upper Arani is where the Guru puts in the Mahavakyas Omkara.
Thank you. That's right. So what do we offer into the Jnana Agni? Do we offer Ajnana, Adhyasas, Kartrutvam, Bhoktrutvam, Prarabdham, Samsara, all of the above or none of the above?
All of the above.
That's right. So we have seen this verse, Atma tu satatam praptaha. What is Atma tu satatam prapta means? Atma is an attained thing. What is the meaning of Atma or Brahma Prapti? Does it mean Brahman is attained? A person becomes Brahman? Brahma Jnanam is attained? Does it mean Samshaya Nivritti or Abrahmatvam Nivritti?
All forms of limitations are gone. So I think the most appropriate would be Brahmatvam Nivritti.
Absolutely right. That's the answer. Now, in this verse, Tattva Swarupa Anubhavat Utpannam Jnanam Ajnanam Bhadate. This means Jnanam directly, please focus on the word directly, destroys Adhyasa, Bhayam, Samsara, Ajnanam, Ahankara, Mamakara.
Okay. Jnanam directly destroys Ajnanam. All the others are byproducts of Ajnana.
That's right. So in the same verse, Tattva Swarupa Anubhavat Utpannam Jnanam Ajnanam Bhadate. The word Anubhava here means experience, Paroksha Jnanam.
Can you explain what is this Tattva Swarupa Anubhavat once again, please?
See, Tattva Swarupa means the knowledge of Brahman. The person who, I will put the word Anubhavat in inverted commas because it literally means experience. The experience of Brahman, which comes Utpannam, which comes through Jnanam, destroys. Bhadate means falsifies. When we get the knowledge of Brahman or the experience of Brahman through Atma Bodha, Ajnanam or ignorance, bhadate means is falsified. In this sentence, the word anubhava literally means experience. But in the context of Atma Bodha, what does the word anubhava mean? The most appropriate answer, please tell. Is it experience? Is it paroksha jnanam? Is it aparoksha jnanam? Is it viparita bhavana? Or is it some mystical experience?
It is the knowledge that I myself, aparoksha jnana.
That's right. So in Vedanta, whenever we hear the word anubhava, we should reflect in our minds prati bodha viditam matam. It is an experience, but it is an aparoksha experience, not the normal paroksha experience. Atmanaha anyat kinchana na vidyate. This means there is nothing other than Atma. This means there is no anatma for a jnani. From Shruti's standpoint, there is no anatma. Shruti uses anatma as adhyaropa temporarily. A jnani sees Atma in Anatma? All of the above.
I would prefer 3. Shruti uses Anatma as Adhyaropa temporarily.
That's right. But what's wrong with the others?
I think all the others are also right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all of the above. After Jnanam, a Jnani still has Prarabdha. But why do you call him a Jivan Mukta? He's still tied down by Prarabdha. Which is the correct answer? A Jnani knows Prarabdha is Mithya. Jnani's Prarabdha is like a roasted seed and it cannot germinate. Jnani can destroy Prarabdha by Nidityasanam. Jnani does not have Upadhi Sambandha.
Please repeat after Jnanam. Jnani has Prarabdha karma. How is
Oh,
it?
Mukta. But he still has Prarabdha like all of us. What is the difference?
Yeah, Jnani's Prarabdha is like a roasted seed, it cannot germinate.
No, that's the catch. See, a Jnani knows his Prarabdha is Mithya. That's the only difference. It is the Jnani's Agami karma, whatever karma that he does after Jnana, that is like a roasted seed which cannot germinate Punya and Papa. So the word prarabdha is something he has to experience, he has to exhaust. But the difference between Jnani and all of us is that he is dissociated from the joy and sorrow of prarabdha because he knows it is mithya. And nobody can destroy prarabdha, including a Jnani. And Jnani does have upadhi sambandha. That is why he experiences jvara, only he doesn't experience anuchvara. So the answer is he knows prarabdha is mithya. That's why the word bhadate, existent but non-existent through jnana. Vyomavat aliptaha, he's unaffected like akasha.
The roasted seed example will come for no agami karma.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
means whatever actions he does henceforth
Will not germinate any results because there is no sense of I am doing it.
not for, nobody can touch prarabdha. It is fructified.
That's true.
So what is the difference between parantakalam and antakalam?
Parantakalam is when a person attains to Videha Mukti because there is no rebirth. Antakalam is the death of an Ajnani.
That's right. Bhaditam and nashtam.
Nashtam means loss, Baditam means to negate.
Absolutely right. Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti.
It is same as what I have already said, Parantakalam and Antakalam. But Jivan Mukti is a person while alive, whereas Videha Mukti is the benefit of knowledge after a person relinquishes his body.
Yeah, in a very fundamental way, you can say a Jivan Mukta is for one for whom Prarabdha is Mithya, and Videha Mukta is a person who has no rebirth.
Whose Prarabdha karma is exhausted, all karmas are gone.
All karmas are gone. Then Brahmavit and Brahma Eva.
Brahmavit is like all of us who know about Brahman. Brahmaiva is when a person is established in that knowledge, Ajnana Nishta.
Okay, another way of saying it is Brahmavit is knowing Brahman parokshataya through Shravanam, Mananam, etc. Brahmaiva is when you get aparoksha jnana of Brahman. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anupama ma'am, for that very interesting and thought-provoking quiz. These questions help us reflect whether we have actually understood the verses or not. And since there are so many Sanskrit terms that have been used in today's class, the onus is on us seekers to watch this session again and do our own reading and contemplate about all the teaching so we may benefit from all the knowledge that is contained in them. Our thanks are due to our teacher, Dr. Damappa Hegde sir, and our two speakers of today, Dr. Rupa and Srimati Mamta. Thank you to all our listeners for tuning in every week. And please do join us for our next Gita for Inner Freedom and Transformation class on the 21st of April 2025. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Thank you.